was just talking to a guy, a one-on-one client of mine, and last year they did $1.5 million in revenues. Okay, they send out 20,000 text messages a month. Now, and they also do ringless voicemail blasts and everything else. But again, they're spending $20,000 a month sending out these blasts. Now they're making $100,000 a month, so that obviously pencils. But again, here's the tricky part: when you also then have an agent to pay, let's say 50% of the deal. If you paid an agent 50% of the deal, you paid 20,000 plus operational costs, which is probably another 20 grand. That's 480 a year. 1.5 million minus 480 is only $1 million left over. Now, if you're paying an agent 50% of that, right, which is 500 grand, you'll make $500,000. But here's the thing: you could just do 100% of the work and make $1 million and change, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like there's almost like you have to have a true reason to have an agent in the organization to do it. An agent will do a few things for you. Number one, we'll give you time back, where it's like I could be working on other activities, right, that will help our team grow. And then my agent, as an example, could put a deal under contract that I can make X percent on, right? 50% on, right? That is a positive. And here's the thing: the problem where people go wrong is that they stop prospecting. So you try to build this organization, which again, a lot of people have this dream of making $1 million, which by the way, most of you, I'm going to be very blunt, most of you will never make $1 million in a year without bringing somebody on in your organization. Like, you need to bring on a team, right? Making $1 million a year by yourself is very difficult. Let's just be honest. Like, you're going to be running around like a crazy person, right? Especially I'm saying consistently, by the way, $1 million a year consistently, because you can do it one time because you hypothetically close a random amazing deal, right? You could do that. But to do it consistently is very difficult by yourself. Very, very difficult. But the problem that most people have, and the reason why most people will never hit it, is because they stop prospecting. All of you should be your number one producer in your organization by far, okay? And if you're not, that's a problem. You shouldn't have a 23-year-old kid that you brought on, or whatever. It doesn't matter what the age is, but you shouldn't bring on some random agent, and then all of a sudden this random agent sells more real estate than you. Then why the number one would they stay? Okay, and I'm wondering, what on planet Earth are you doing? Because if you were making 200 or 250 or 300 a year, and you brought on a junior agent, because that's what the it says, you don't hire a junior agent till you're making 200K a year minimum. Because what happens is, imagine this: you're making 200. Now what happens is, now you become a sales manager, which sales managers, by the way, I can pay them 60 grand a year, right? 80 grand a year. Why would you want to go from making 200 to go to making 60 grand a year? You wouldn't. Right? So just keep in mind that what you need to do is, when I bring on a junior agent, I go, hey, you're going to shadow this agent, or in your case, shadow you, and you're going to shadow me. And I'm going to work, and you're not going to say a word. Okay? And you're going to sit next to me, and I'm going to work like a madman. Okay? And you're just going to shadow me. Because what your goal is going to be is saying, hey, I'm going to go from 200 to 300 or 400 or 500 because of my activity. Okay? And that person will then support your activity. Because what happens is, when you can delegate some of the smaller bullshit tasks off your plate, that buys you more time to put into what will make you more money. So let's take an example. You're making 200, 250, 300 a year right now. Kudos to you. Now you want to grow. You bring on a junior agent. You're paying them 25%. Okay, and you say, listen, the way this will work is the following: every lead I give you to work on, you will make 25% if the deal goes to closing. However, remember, you're giving them 25% commission. So you have to realize that we don't want to always give them deals. I want to close deals on my own still, but we have to give them enough to eat and give them incentive to also close more deals, right? 25% is more than enough, but I don't have to give them every single deal. If the deal is really simple, why the would I give it to them? I don't, we want to utilize their support, not just give them free money. There's a huge difference. So when you're hiring a junior agent, you work and you have them shadow you for 2 weeks straight. Now, during that 2-week period, you're going to be working your ass off. And at the same exact time, what I like to do is that I've recorded my own trainings. So like I say, hey, this is how you use Mojo Dialer. This is how you use the CRM. This is how you use X service, like Reonomy as an example. This is how you use Reonomy. This is how you use CoStar. This is whatever, right? So I don't have to re-explain myself 1,700 times. So I just, hey, watch this 3-hour training, or 3 hours worth of training. Okay, it's a bunch of different things. They're going to watch it. And then what you're going to do is that you're going to have them say like, hey, here's a lead list. It's already loaded up. You're going to start prospecting. And you're going to call here, and they're going to call next to you. So you can at least hear their calls, right? Because you want to make sure you can hear them. And then every day, you're going to spend 30 minutes or less drilling the calls. How did it go? Tell me about the conversation. Where did you go? Like what objections they give you, and you're going to drill it with them. So you're going to spend 30 minutes or an hour, maybe at most per day, drilling them and being a sales manager. And then the remaining part of your life is you're going to be a beast of a salesperson, because salespeople make a lot of money. Salespeople are one of the highest paid types of employed individuals. Okay. And right now in your business, you're making 200-300 grand a year. It's because you're a high paid salesperson. A high paid salesperson can be making 500, 600, 800, a million, $2 million. Now, what'll happen is as you grow, you personally, you can bring on another junior agent, and that person will continue to grow and support you, not replace you. The purpose of a junior agent is to support your business. They do not replace your lead generation system, right? You are the lead generation system. Even if you're paying for it for $10,000 or $20,000 a month because you're making great money, that lead generation system is still your system, and you should be prospecting that list and hitting the list first, and they can support and handle all the shit that didn't come through or that isn't good stuff, and help you convert on stuff that maybe needs, X more attention, whatever. That's fine. But a lot of people still make the mistake of giving these junior agents too much. They believe that these individuals will do so much business that their income will grow. And that is a mistake. And it's not, they're basically, they have this weird, they have this disillusion. And again, me too. I had a disillusion for a very long period of time. Okay. Where I had agents on my team. Okay. And by the way, in the residential world, this happens all the time. Residential agents are the absolute worst when it comes to this specific thing. They have the worst disillusion in the world, that if I bring on agents, I'm going to make a lot more money. Because the first 20 agents you bring on, unless they're already killer producers, which most of the time they're not, most of the time they're brand new fucking agents, right? Like they just got their fucking license yesterday and they never made any money and they don't know what the listing agreement is. So it's like in the residential world, they make the mistake that they bring on a bunch of agents and they expect that, okay, wow, 500,000 a year producer, right, brings on 20 agents, and then they go to making $1 million a year, but then they end up making less money. And I'm telling you, don't do that. So what I believe is the most profitable situation is a Navy SEAL team approach. This will make you over $1 million net. Once you get to $1 million in net profit, you then can make your own decisions, right? You'll be a smart individual. And some of my one-on-one coaching students, almost all of them make over $1 million, right? And then they can make their own decisions. And that's what I tell all of them. Like, here, I'm not telling you what to do, but if you want to go from making $1 million to $10 million a year, there's only so many ways to do that. And doing a Navy SEAL team approach is great to $1 million, but it might not be great to get you to 10. So depending on what you're looking for, right? And I would tell all of you, build to $1 million, because once you make $1 million a year and you're just smart with your money, you don't need to go much bigger. Because you can be very wealthy just by buying one commercial property a year for the next 10 years straight. And all they will do is help you grow by 10, 15, 20% internal rates of return. And that $1 million will turn into tens of millions of dollars and you'll be fucking fine. But the problem what most people do is they don't make $1 million a year. They make 200 a year and they go, hey, I don't want to work more hours. So I want to work less. Let me hire agents to prospect for me, but I'm going to pay them half the compensation or more, right? And then all of a sudden their income never grows. So don't make that mistake. I made the mistake in the past as well. And as soon as you realize like, hey, I'm the number one producer and I'm the only one who's going to help me get there to $1 million, by the way, okay? Like you're going to be the main producer. You're going to be the one who generates probably 800 to $1 million, $1.5 million or $2 million of whatever the revenues are. So you're going to probably generate 80+% of the revenues. That means you're going to work 60, 80 hours a week, whatever it takes. But you're going to work 60 or 80 hours a week to make $1 million a year. And once you get there, you can start restructuring and pivoting so that you don't have to work 80 hours a week anymore. But the climb to get there will require 60, 80, 100 hours a week. Now, look, you only do it for 3 or 4 or 5 years. In your future self will thank you for it, but do not make those mistakes.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. So I kind of missed the first bit of that. So when you were saying like building a Navy SEAL type team, my understanding is that pretty much like you were just saying, like having people around you, I guess a support team around you that's helping you get to that $1 million. And then after that point, you can start building a team around that restructuring. Was there anything else, I guess, that I missed that should be added when it comes to building a Navy SEAL team, or is that about it?
First things first is transaction manager, paying them on a per transaction basis. Okay. You don't hire full-time anybody, don't do salaries, don't do anything. Like you don't need to do any type of salary job at the beginning of your career. Okay. Per transaction. Second, lead manager, and it can be a VA. Okay. All they're going to do is make sure you're organized. The whole purpose, and you're going to educate them. Hey, every one of my leads in my CRM needs to be on a follow-up campaign, needs to have a task set. I need to make sure we don't miss a thing, and they're going to constantly be paying attention to your CRM, and that's all they're going to do. Between those two positions, you might only have $1,000 a month worth of bills, maybe $2,000 in the months or $3,000 in the months only, which you close deals. So it keeps your cost low. Then and only then, when and only when you start making like 200 plus a year, bring on a junior agent. You can pay them 25% to start, and then again, 50% for self-generated deals down the road, because they don't need to do any self-generated deals. I'm not hiring you to do self-generated deals right now. I'm hiring you to be my support person. So like the first junior agents that you bring on, and by the way, most junior agents that you should be bringing on also should not be brand new agents. I do not like to, at the very beginning of my career, I would hire a lot of brand new agents. And then I've realized all my successful friends in the real estate business, residential and commercial, the reason why they make so much money is because they hire seasoned producers. You hire somebody who's already made money. Because if I bring in, take an example. If I hire a brand new green agent, okay, green, never sold real estate before, okay? Now, there's pros and cons to that. Right? They might make infinitely more phone calls, right? Like if you care about the lead gen thing, like probably a 23-year-old kid who right out of college who's, done some internships in sales might make $1,000 a day. Cool. I used to think that was important many years ago. And then what you realize is that person, even if they're a beast on the phone, might not close a deal for a year or two. I mean, that's just the industry. And plus all the things you got to educate them on along the way. But then you also have a seasoned player. A seasoned player who made 200 last year. You bring them on and create an organization in which they can be supported and be able to produce and do other things, right? Like do their own self-generated deals, whatever. In the future, right? Like they're going to be able to go 200 last year. They'll probably make 200 this year. So just keep in mind, and by the way, two different conversations here, but keep in mind that hiring somebody who's brand new is going to take you a long time to see return. And I'm not saying you're going to, by the way, any one of you guys who's trying to hire, if you're making 200 a year, for you to go hire somebody who's making 200 a year will be very difficult. Okay. So I'm not telling you to make 200, so hire someone who's making 200 a year, but don't hire somebody who's never sold real estate before.